Welcome, everybody. We are back with another exciting episode of the Ryno and Curtis podcast. We got some hot issues. It's Super Bowl Sunday. We got Valentine's this weekend. We'll go into the halftime show with all the Dr. Dre, Eminem, Snoop Dogg, Mary J. Blige, Kendrick Lamar. Talk Super Bowl snacks. We're going to talk Winter Olympics. We found out a little more about the death of Bob Saget, who we were going to talk about a few weeks ago, but because of a power outage of the blizzard in Lugoff, South Carolina, we didn't get to talk about it. And that's going to lead us into maybe talking a little about health over the age of 40, which applies to both of us. And also we had big trade in the NBA this week, Ben Simmons for James Harden, and we're going to talk about the possible differences that good or bad that's going to make for each team. So, Ryno, what's up, man? Super Bowl Sunday, what's going on?
Yeah, it's this used to be the biggest day in sports, and I guess it still is. Maybe there's a lot, maybe not as big as it used to be, for the simple fact that there's so many things to watch, and we've talked about that. Used to be it was 3 channels on Sunday, maybe 25, 30 years ago, and Super Bowl everybody watched. And then you got progressive on the channel, so your mom wasn't stuck or your sister wasn't stuck watching the Super Bowl because they didn't care nothing about it, other than the commercials. And now they pretty much bring the commercials out a week ahead of time or on the internet. So that's not a big deal. That used to be the big thing, to see what the new Bud Bowl was going to be or the new Doritos flavor was going to be. So that's kind of calmed it down. Like you said, the halftime show is a big one. It's a hip hop. Is pretty much the genre, and it's some of the biggest names in the hip hop game. Be interesting to see. It'll be I guess the guys who were pretty much at their peak when we were younger. Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. You can still see the reaction when you hear that piano key ding 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 ding. The feeling changes in the room when you hear that. Eminem's been around a good bit. Kendrick Lamar's been on top of the chart. So it'll be interesting to see the reaction there. I know there's some negative reaction also because it's hip hop, but you can't really cover all genres. If it's the Rolling Stones, they're too old. And if it's Janet Jackson, she's past her prime. So it's always something. If it's the Eagles, they're 70, who cares? So you can't make everybody happy. I really don't care. If they could have the Muppets play the halftime show, it's the least important part for me. And then we'll get into the food at the bottom end. We'll talk about the food. We'll give our Mount Rushmore of, the food during the football game. But so what you think about the game? I'm going to take the Rams. I think they're more, I think there's more depth for the Rams, I believe, offensively and defensively. But I ain't counting Joe Burrow out. This is going to be a stepping stone game for him. If Joe Burrow can win right here, I think he moves right up there. He's the one who's going to replace Brady. Now that Aaron Rodgers is not likable, Russell Wilson's kind of on their team's on the downslide. It's a quarterback league. It's a weird Super Bowl because for the last 20 or so, it's either been pulling for Brady, pulling against Tom Brady, stuff like that. And then it's been the immersion of a new quarterback, whether it's Ben Roethlisberger, Russell Wilson. It's an old quarterback like Peyton Manning winning another championship, Ben Roethlisberger winning a couple, Eli winning a couple, and even like the Eagles with Nick Foles. It's always quarterback driven, and this game's no different. Matthew Stafford's been in the league 12 years, stuck in Detroit. Now he gets a chance to win, and then Joe Burrow in his second season, he's taking the Bengals to the promised land. So I'm going to go with the Rams just because I kind of feel like they're better on defense and they got equal offensive playmakers. What you thinking?
Yeah, I'm pulling for the Rams too. I'm going to pull for Stafford, but I just want to see a good game, man. This ain't anything like the playoffs, man. We should be in for a good one. I'm going to go based on absolutely nothing. I'm going to say Rams 31-17. Go ahead and get that on your on that square on your board there. Pick one.
That's the winner. That's the one
that's the winner. Mark that down.
31-17.
Very uneducated guess.
I'm calling 27-20. I think the Bengals will have a chance to tie the game late, maybe. They've been in every game for a score. I believe field goal kickers will be important in this one, and they're in a good climate. LA's home, but I don't know when you're a grown-up adult that it really matters. Plus, the Rams don't have a great home field advantage. It's not like Arrowhead or Green Bay. The fans will be neutral. So it won't be all so loud that you can't hear what you think, but it's going to be interesting. What's your take on like commercials? I mean, what do you remember? What are some of your favorites? What do you, that for me, that used to be the big deal. Like the reason you didn't get up and go to the refrigerators because, the Clydesdale was going to kick a field goal or the, Doritos or something that was going to pop out of a pregnant lady.
Yeah, I think the Budweiser commercials always stood out, either the Clydesdales or the Was Up or, what was the Billy. They always had game changing commercials, I guess. But I look forward just like the what movies are coming, movie trailers or TV show trailers. Or I don't know if there's any surprises. Hadn't they already kind of dropped them on the internet before?
Yeah, that's what I'm
now?
saying.
So
Like we've kind
I
of
don't.
evolved where you don't wait anymore. Used to be, that was a big deal is to wait for that day to see what they unveil. But now the internet's so big, they shoot them out there a week ahead of time. What about the halftime? I mean, I know you're a musical, a big music guy, but I don't know that hip hop's your major genre. But what's your take on the halftime show?
First of all, I think this is going to be to, later tonight, all day tomorrow. It's going to be TikTok videos of kids with their mamas uh, dancing to Dr. Dre,
Drop it
Eminem.
like
Because
it's
I
hot.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, this is this was kind of, Dr. Dre was in NWA. That was kind of a big ninth grade album for me. So I mean, that was controversial, something you shouldn't have been listening to. And then like Dr. Dre came out with the Chronic, which had Snoop Dogg. That was my senior year in high school. So then the next year was like Snoop Dogg's first album. I mean, like kind of, Mary J. Blige. That's kind of the soundtrack to our 20s, I guess, to a certain degree. I had some rides home at 4 a.m. listening to Snoop Dogg's album. Late night. So I mean, not my favorite by any means of any of them, but I mean, everybody's got Eminem's "Lose Yourself" on their workout mix. It's the new Eye of the Tiger, I guess. So
Yeah, that's the interesting thing is like you're talking about that the mom age now, the 40 somethings, are kind of calm and reserved. But if that, drop it like it's hot or any of that comes on, it flips a switch in the mind. And like you said, lose yourself's another one that it's pretty much like that Rocky theme song to get you jacked up. So it's gonna be interesting with that.
it's
We'll
gonna be a
talk.
lot of hits, man. I don't know
Yeah,
if this is gonna be a lot of cameos out there because it's 5 people with a lot of hits. So I mean, but like this Mary J. Blige gonna bring Method Man out there. It's Snoop Dogg gonna bring Pharrell out there to do Drop It Like It's Hot. If they do California Love, are they gonna have the Tupac hologram? So I mean, I don't know if it's gonna be a cameo filled show or just basically a showing of those 5 artists and everything they got. But I mean, they are a lot of artists that had big songs for cameos. Eminem had that monster song with Rihanna. You might get a pregnant Rihanna coming out there. There's a lot of people you could have a hologram Easy E do an NWA reunion. Which also what we have to talk about too, man. This is a evolution of also like Snoop Dogg was on the cover of Newsweek as like the most dangerous artist. Like this is music your parents would throw away if they found it as a teenager, man. And now this is mainstream. And even though he's not going to be on this, but I mean, have you seen the Cheerios commercial with Ice-T talking about Art Smart, like walking with a group of people? Man, these guys that were dangerous are kind of wholesome family people now.
yep, it's true. And the Snoop Dogg with the Martha Stewart thing for the last decade has been the weirdest, the oil and water mix. You think the proper old white lady who's making doilies and, teaching you how to make crafts with a guy who's pushing, a West Side and weed smoke and, bouncing cars. It's kind of he's kind of become mainstream to where he's a character now, more so than a gangster or, a rapper. He's more just a character. He's, they put him in there doing the sound overs on dog shows and different kind of things. And I think most people enjoy, his takes on things. So it's definitely a 180 from where we probably thought with the, the flannel shirt and the bandanas and the baggy pants to, he's pretty much marketed himself into a icon in 2022. So
and nobody does more commercials than Snoop, except for maybe Shaq. So, I mean,
right. It's true. That's true. Well, speaking of the popularity of sports and the Super Bowl will be, they'll show worldwide, especially like military bases and stuff will be watching this all over the country. One thing that I think is not being watched, and except by maybe white people, this is like a kind of white people trend. This was given to us by our
death of a white trend.
Yeah, the death of a white trend. This is recommended by our boy Scott Hoffman, who has the Bro Pod as well. Him and his brother do a podcast. But he recommended the Winter Olympics, and I believe he's right. Back in the day, and me and Kurt talked about this, how big tennis used to be. It was on NBC, Wimbledon. It was something you woke up to Sunday morning. You knew the guys from McEnroe to Becker to Agassi on up to the guys now. And the winter all the Olympics were. It was a big deal. It was a worldwide thing. They made the movie The Miracle about the hockey team in 1980. You go on up and you got figure skaters. You had the Tanya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan thing that was like a worldwide thing. And then, then you introduce new sports, and we get Shaun White, who's from the X Games era. He comes in. So they brought some more popularity in there. But for the most part, except for a handful of states in the U.S., you can't really participate in most of these. So there's not a lot of interest. And, I don't know, like United States beat Canada in hockey yesterday, and you probably don't know that because it's not even a big deal anymore. That used to be like a really super big deal, but now the pros aren't playing. So I think at some point, man, the Winter Olympics may end up on True TV. I mean, have you watched any of the Winter Olympics?
I hadn't watched any. I watch Sports Center every morning before work. It's not really covered on there either. As it was going off the other day, I think Scott Van Pelt said, like as it was ending, like going off the air, like Shaun White finished fourth in the Olympics. And that was it. Like wasn't a video highlight or anything. So I mean, I think everything's too congested to care about the Olympics. You don't see the stories of these athletes like we used to coming up. So I mean, everybody's got. You can choose whatever you want to watch now, so nobody really wants to watch it. So, like, you had 4 channels, and Winter Olympics were on. You would watch that over MASH or something, whatever it was on the other channel.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like it's so even with the Super Bowl now. I wonder what the numbers are going to be from like a decade ago, because now we all got subscriptions to everything. So instead of everybody being in the living room watching the one TV like we had, the brother and the sister and the mom and the dad and whoever got a Hulu and a Netflix and a HBO. It's Sunday night. Righteous Gemstones is coming on. Or whatever you watch on Sunday night. You got so many other things you can stream versus just watching the Super Bowl, and you don't have to be interested in, and like we talked about, the commercials are there. I believe the Olympics are nearly over. I mean, as far as popularity, Norway's leading the gold medal count or the medal count. The Olympic Committee of Russia is second. I think Germany, and then Austria. So it's not really the powerhouses. United States, Canada, any of the Asian countries for the most part aren't up there. When you got Norway leading something, it pretty much tells you, and I think that means there's a lack of interest in the United States to even participate in these sports, other than maybe hockey. I saw we won a gold medal this morning. It was on the bottom line in speed skating, but who watches speed skating? I think it's the end of an era, just like tennis, and I believe this stuff will eventually go away. to where it's I don't know what the opposite of mainstream is, but that's what it's going to become. It's going to be a sideshow, and very few people will watch. And I just don't see any redeeming things. I do think it would be fun to do curling. I think that's basically like a northern cornhole. Basically, you just kind of push it down there, and I'm gonna push it, and you sweep it, and we hope to get our bocce ball. It's like the opposite of the tropics. With bocce ball, it's on ice. You've probably seen the guys. They're not really in shape. They look like every other 40-year-old guy with a mustache and a collared shirt, and it's pushing the whatever, the curling ball down there. And I don't know how you score it, but it seems like United States does pretty well in it. So that's maybe the only sport I could do. I mean, I don't think there's another one where you I guess you do like cross country skiing and you shoot targets. Maybe I don't know who came up with that. I guess the German army or somebody. I don't know how that's an Olympic sport, but I don't know. So that's a trend. I think only white people gonna keep going. I'm doubtful there's any black folks sitting at the house looking forward to the skeleton or the luge race this afternoon. We'll back up that white people trend with another one. We got to kind of throw this in here since we did it with the farts in the jar. Reality 16 and pregnant star Farrah Abraham, who's pretty trashy, pretty much a trashy individual. Has been questionable and but became famous because of the MTV show 16 and Pregnant. Now has a new marketing ploy of selling poop in a jar. We have farts in a jar. Now we got poop in a jar. What's your take, Kurt? What you know about this Farrah Abraham and the marketing ploy of selling the poop in the jar?
A few weeks back on our highly rated farts in the jar episode, our ratings were through the roof. We praised young Stephanie Motto and her selling of farts as being a genius. And, farts are always funny. But Farrah Abraham, like, just the name sounds like a biblical evildoer to me. I mean, it just sounds bad. Like, she's taken MTV's going from Martha Quinn and Nina Blackwood to Farrah Abraham and Chanel West Coast. I mean, we don't have music anymore, but I mean, man, I don't like to get controversial, man, but if we could just find the mailing list of these people that are ordering jars of crap and maybe seize their house and take them away and put them somewhere, along with Farrah Abraham, man. There's a market for it, I guess. But I mean, come on, man. She's no Stephanie Motto. Friend of the show, Stephanie Motto.
Yeah, friend of the show. We need to get her in on a interview, definitely. That's funny you say. But and the thing about it is, Farrah Abraham has an entrepreneurial spirit. I'll say that because she's I guess she's used the OnlyFans platform. She has sold pregnancy tests online, negative pregnancy tests. She has sold videos of golden showers and such as that thing. So I guess the almighty dollar comes first for Farrah Abraham, and hopefully she's end up being well set up here. I think there's too much controversy in living such a shitty lifestyle that I don't think she'll ever get ahead. You just can't get out of that turmoil you're always in. But I
hope she's not set up. I hope she's not what's up.
You hope she's bankrupt.
I hope she's run over in the street later, personally.
And I'm gonna throw in one last white people trend that I didn't even mention to you. I had it noted here. Kylie Jenner has another kid, and she named it Wolf. So she's got one kid named Stormy and one kid named Wolf. I'm not sure if she's trying to start a new X-Men cartoon or what's going on, but I don't understand why white people name their kids after nouns. What's wrong with, Curtis is your name. I say that's probably a 70s and 80s. It kind of stopped there. Ryan's a more common name, I guess, but, whatever. But what's wrong with Steve and Jimmy, Bobby, Billy? You start naming your kids Stormy and Wolf, man. That sounds like some stormtroopers or something coming in, some kind of animated series. What you think about white people and these names, man?
I guess it's just part of the whole celebrity, if something we're talking about it, I guess. I mean, if she had a child named Jeff, we're probably not going to talk about it. So,
you make a good point.
It's all about the topics, man. It's all about making these headlines that me and you read.
So, I guess you're right.
That make it to us, anyways. I mean, some people actually look at real news. We get our news from TMZ and Barstool. So
this is true. All right, well, let's talk about a guy who's got a normal name or had a normal name, and somebody who we all know from different aspects. We knew him, the dad on Full House. With some known him as the comedian side of and then different sitcoms and movies. Bob Saget, who Kurt alluded to, we had a segment set up before we got this nor'easter and blew off and shut down the city for about 6 or 8 hours. But anyway, Kurt, give me your Bob Saget, your history, your stories, your what you know about him, and we'll segue that into what we can do or what we need to do as a 40 plus to kind of keep ourselves in line and healthy.
Yeah, we had a big thing set up for it because I mean, just like when we were all kids, you had the sitcoms, the Facts of Life, and the Different Strokes, and the Growing Pains, and the Mr. Belvedere's, and like I feel like those were stuff we watched as a kid up until about Full House definitely came on when we were kids, but we were like middle school age. Now, Friday nights we probably doing a little something instead of watching TV. But Bob Saget definitely the TV dad for a lot of kids growing up. We might say Philip Drummond was our TV dad or people like that. But yeah, a lot of people, man. Danny Tanner, also Danny Tanner, man. Yeah. That character, Golden State Warriors fan, about 20 years before everybody else jumped on it. He was the only Golden State Warriors fan who watched that show. But yeah, Bob Saget, we actually saw it. Me and my sister, brother-in-law, and buddies went and saw Bob Saget Comedy House, I think. I want to say early 2000s, probably. And he was a stand-up guy, just like the other. Everybody just thinks of America's Funniest Home Videos and stuff, but he was, R-rated comic, and he threw down with the rest of them. But yeah, and sad story, man, because like everybody you saw had a Bob Saget story and just how he was the best guy, and that full house cast. They just had the Fuller House show on Netflix, and that cast seemed to be really tight. And sad story. And I guess this past week we saw, you never really heard what he died of. But I mean, he had no alcohol in his system, no drugs. It sounds like, I mean, he was in his bed too, but like they said, the front of his face was beat up and the back. Sounds like there's a story there on what happened to him. But I mean, sounds like if he had, whatever happened to his head, if he had gone to the doctor, we wouldn't be talking about this right now.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like, he had what ended up being a brain hemorrhage, I think, some internal bleeding, but he maybe took a fall or something and didn't think it was as bad, but he was able to, get himself back to his room and get into bed, and which was, obviously it wasn't, he wasn't knocked out, he wasn't, unconscious to that point. And it's just an interesting thing, man. You go to bed with maybe a headache and wake up and never wake up again. So I think that's not necessarily in line with being more healthy, I guess, but it's kind of something. I don't think our bodies are as resilient as they used to be. We used to, have a good time and go out and drink it up and stay out to 2 and do a lot of crazy things. And now me and you both are, Friday night consists of dinner and what we hadn't watched yet on Netflix, Hulu, or HBO Max for the week. There's no more of this standing around the bar and coming home and the next day. So it's the part of it is resilience, but I guess part of it's also it makes you think about taking care of yourself. I know you're very proactive do a lot of walking, drink a lot of water, jump rope in the yard. I don't. I think about it a lot. I think about it a lot, and then I go and pick up, 2 plates from Old South today for lunch, fried chicken, macaroni, and fatback. So the thought doesn't count really for this, but it makes you worry. Our conversations over the past 20 years have changed a lot, about what we are aware of, and especially COVID has changed that a little bit too. But just being healthy or cutting out things that could kill us before we're supposed to die. And I will say you've done a heck of a job of that. I remember you signed up for CrossFit, and I thought there's no way you'd ever last a month in there just because you didn't want to do it. But like 5 years later, you're still in there, and like I said, you since walk in the afternoons and drink water, cut out the Mountain Dews, and don't eat snacks like you used to. I'm sure you still eat candy like a mouse, but
yeah, you're making it sound a lot better than it actually is, but I'll take it. But yeah, I definitely, when I hit 40, I started realizing that there was a chance maybe you could die one day. So you get up in the morning, you creak a little bit down the hallway getting up. So I mean, got to stretch it out a little bit. But yeah, man, health is a weird thing to talk about with people, because some people get offended just about every little thing with health. But I feel like everybody should at least go to the doctor once a year. They take your blood, tell you what you need to do, and you can see the improvement and what you need to do there. And I mean, we have a lot of information out there in society these days that we probably don't take advantage of. So I mean, yeah.
Too many people looking for that miracle.
I ate cupcakes yesterday, man. I'm not a picture of health by any means, but yeah.
Too many people looking for that miracle drug, like the miracle gummy, where you can still eat it, San Jose twice a week, Leo's Wings and El Hop, and pick up a cheeseburger and eat bacon, egg, and cheese, and then take one apple cider vinegar gummy. It's going to eliminate, 4,000 calories of raw fries and blue cheese dressing. It just don't work that way. And, I'm as bad as any, because, I love to eat, and I've made a whole couple years of finding places to eat the worst food and kind of reviewing it, from hot dogs and hamburgers, wings, barbecue. So I'm definitely not the picture of health, but it is on my mind. And at some point, I'm gonna get my ass up, walk, take the first step to not, having a heart attack at 48 years old.
Yeah, the information's out there, man. So I mean, you might could go buy that miracle powder to mix in your water, but I mean, if you're not burning more calories than you're putting in, I mean, it's a math equation. We talk about this type of stuff. I mean, yeah, you might be drinking that powder, might make you lose weight, but just losing weight because you're taking that powder instead of Mellow Yellow or Mountain Dew in the morning or whatever. I know you're a big Mellow Yellow guy.
Yeah, I don't know why. I'm not sure what's going to last longer, the Winter Olympics or the Mellow Yellow. I still don't know how Mellow Yellows exist. That's the worst thing in the history. And I know your old boys will tell you, "Well, I like a good Mellow Yellow." No, you don't. If you did, they'd be in every gas station now instead of the bottom shelf.
But yeah, but neither one of us are slim good body. But I mean, if we really wanted to be, we could. But you just got to want to do
it. That's where the hard work, that truck work, that hating our jobs was beneficial to us, because we didn't have time to eat. All you had to do, you ran for 10 hours a day and drank Gatorade all day. And, it was 2008, 2009. I was still 150 or so pounds, because, all I did was work all day, rolling sodas. And then when I get off the truck again, and Hardee's and Bojangles was my morning friends, and that's no good, especially not doing anything to burn it off.
Yeah, we got all the tools, man. I mean, Apple Watch will sit there and tell you what your heart rate is. I mean, on a good day during the week, I've burned 1,000 calories. Like I said yesterday, I did nothing but watch TV and ate yesterday. And your little rings on your Apple Watch, I've burned like 200 calories probably getting up to go to the refrigerator. That's about it yesterday. So
All right.
Definitely,
Well,
it's definitely there. The information's there if you want to do it, I guess. So
rest in peace.
That's health talk with Kurt and Ryno this week.
Yeah. I mean, we got guys. The funny thing is like, you know, we talk about doing these things, and we got friends like Scott Hoffman and Kenny Hinley, who both run like crazy. You see Hoffman, he lives out there in I think Colorado or something like that, and he runs and he'll have icebergs off his beard, running 10 miles or so and 13 miles or whatever it is in the ice. And then Kenny Hinley, he's over here running 80-mile mountain trails like a wild man.
100 miles, man. Sounds
100
impossible
miles.
to me.
I mean, basically this is pulling out there and running to Charleston or running to Charlotte. Could you imagine like just getting out there on Highway 34, running towards Ridgeway and just not stopping until you got to Charlotte? It's amazing. Great mind control there to be mentally tough enough. And I'm sure, it's a process. He's probably started at 5 miles and 10 and 20, 30, 40. And, we've seen all the 60 milers and 50 milers, but 100 miles, man, that's a lot of miles. If you don't think it is, get in your car and don't stop till you get to 100 miles to see you're in a different state, or on the coast.
I don't even like to drive 100 miles.
No, I agree. All right. So anyway, props to those guys. Hopefully, we all live a good, prosperous life and don't end up, in a bad shape or die suddenly without being able to tell people goodbye, like the Bob Saget. He was COVID positive. Matter of fact, not the cause of death, but I'm sure that will be used in the CDC's write-up with another COVID death. We will talk about that at some other point. Basketball trade deadline came and went. We're talking about the Super Bowl, but now, we're almost at the All-Star game for the NBA, which turns into the second half of the season, the down the stretch. Who's gonna get right, who's gonna get healthy, and then who's gonna, of course, make it into the playoffs, and of course win the championship. What you looking like, Kurt? The Ben Simmons, James Harden trade. James Harden, MVP, triple-double machine, him and Westbrook as well. But it doesn't seem like that translates into wins. So, Harden has been on top of his game for the last 5 or 6 years. Ben Simmons hadn't played in the last year and a half or so. So what are you looking at? What's your take on those trades? Was it like nothing for nothing, or one team went out on this trade, or what's your take on it?
Man, I think our NBA talk now is not so much talent, it's their headspace. Like you got Ben Simmons and Kyrie Irving on the same team. I mean, Kyrie Irving is the X factor on that team. I mean, I think they kind of said that's why Harden wanted out, because when they let Kyrie back on, he didn't seem to care for it. Like Harden seemed to be on board with in Brooklyn, but Ben Simmons, I mean, basically just didn't want to be there, sat out. So I mean, this guy gets to go to he was on a championship caliber team. So I don't know. It's this year or nothing for Brooklyn. If they don't win it this year, they're going to blow that team up. Probably get. I don't know, man. Kyrie, man. It all goes back to Kyrie with me, man. That guy should be an MVP candidate every year. But I mean, you look at Philadelphia. Philadelphia's been good all year. So you add James Harden to it. So I mean.
Yeah, I think Philadelphia's strong. I've said this for 3 years. I've argued with people about this. Joel Embiid is an MVP candidate and should be every year. He's 7 foot. He can shoot. He can play defense. He handles the ball well. He keeps them in games when Ben Simmons is there or not. He just had a 40-point triple-double last week. It's like the first one since 1993. The guy is good. You can say what you want, and I know we always have this thought process of Tim Duncan in our head, winning 4 championships and a nice guy. I think he's comparable. I think he's comparable to KG. I think he's that good. I think he should win MVP this year. I think he does a lot of things well. And look at that roster. He doesn't have another guy. LeBron's got 2 guys. He's got 2 All-Stars on his team, and they're 9th in the West. So for Philadelphia to be as good as they are with only Joel Embiid, I think it speaks a lot for them. The Nets, man, Steve Nash is just, I think Steve Nash can get back on that soccer train, man. I think he tried this thing and he got him a KD and he got him a Harden and he got him a Kyrie, like you said, 3 MVP candidates. And he thought, man, I can just go out here and, then go grab a Blake Griffin and a couple other pieces here and there. And we're just going to win easily. And it's been a disaster. I'd love to see a Netflix original of Steve Nash talking to his wife on the couch when he comes home at night and is like, "Bro, this is absolutely it's just it's a fine line of the mental health game. You can't be too critical of it, but then you get guys like Kyrie Irving who just deranged, and you get guys like Ben Simmons who are so weak and so soft that they're getting paid, $15-20 million, $30 million, and they don't play. They sit out, and it's terrible. It's terrible for everything in the sport. I mean, we used to have, the 80s, man, there was some bruisers in there, and guys who played tape their finger, like Larry Bird, take 3 fingers together and still play. And now guys are, the load management garbage that's come along. Kyrie Irving sits out 45 games a year. The NBA is just soft, man. It's terrible. And the bad thing about it is it's only getting more popular and popular. They're making more money now than they ever have.
Yeah, the teams that, the Bucks, the Warriors, the Suns, the Heat, even Cleveland, man, these are just teams with people that just want to win. Like these other teams that should, the Lakers, all these teams that look like they on paper should be awesome. It's just a bunch of head cases, man.
I wonder what LeBron does now. I mean, he went out and he got AD. They did win a championship in the COVID shortened season, so that adds to his little bit. But there's a chance they missed the playoffs. I'm sure somehow they'll work their way into the playoffs and be the 8th seed, get booted out. I wonder what going forward though. Like, I think LeBron wants to stay and play with Bronny 1 year, but I think he's still got a year or 2 to do that. So I wonder what is he going to do? I mean, he
might want to go back to Cleveland. He's a better chance of winning in Cleveland now.
There ain't no doubt about it, man. And then Cleveland made some moves at the break there. I think they got Carlos Levert to add to that young team. They may be okay. And like you said, Miami's one of them teams with Bam Adebayo down low and Butler, Tyler Hero. They can shoot it and they can run up and down the court. That's a good team. The Bucks are good. It's amazing what the Suns are doing with Chris Paul. I mean, you kind of think he's on the backside, but he's putting out 12 assists a night with Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton. So, and the Warriors, Klay Thompson's back. So, right now, who's your final? If I'm putting you on the spot, who you putting in the NBA Finals this year, right here?
I'm going Golden State and Milwaukee.
Yeah, I think you would most likely have to do that. I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go not really off the grid, but I'm gonna go with Philadelphia. I like what Embiid's doing, and you add a James Harden in there and a couple other pieces. I think they got a shot. I think they match up. They match up well with the East, and I don't know anybody in the East that can really body Embiid. If Harden can get 20 or 30 points or something, maybe they can win. And I'm gonna go with Phoenix. I'm gonna give Phoenix another shot to get out there. They don't have many more years because of Chris Paul, Devin Booker. Chris Paul is definitely on the backside, but Ayton's good. The Warriors will be there, and I think the Warriors are good for the NBA because of Steph Curry and then Klay Thompson coming back. Draymond will be healthy. They're winning games without guys. And Wiseman hadn't played either. Their number 1 pick from Memphis 2 years ago. So you get Wiseman and Draymond back with Steph and Wiggins and Klay Thompson. I think the Warriors could win it all this year.
Yeah. Be interesting to see.
All right. We're going to wrap it up. We talked a little bit about everything from football to hip hop to white people and pooping jars. Bob Saget, everybody's dad in the 90s to the NBA. Wrap it up with our Mount Rushmore. I'm going to throw it to you, Kurt. If you go into, and you're not, and I'm not either, neither one of us is leaving the couch. We're going to be sitting right there on the couch. But if ideally, say roll it back 10 years, you roll into a Christmas party, probably got a drink in one hand. what's your Mount Rushmore of top 4 Super Bowl tailgate party football related snacks or food items that you like?
It's a tough, man. I like it all. I like usually what everybody's got spread out, but I'm gonna go chicken wings,
Yeah.
raw fries, pig in the blankets, and the chips and dip, man. I don't think that's anything too far to left field, but
No, I think you're right.
I just like the grays, man. I like the grays.
I do too. And that's the biggest thing is I don't want a plate. We talked about this. And he was like, a plate. I said, you know how CJ does it sometimes, man. You might get collard greens and grits and all this. In a normal day, if I got a drink in my hand, or back in the day, maybe a beer in my hand, I just want to graze like that. I want to come by, especially pre-COVID where you didn't have this hand sanitizer, so your fingers didn't taste like whiskey.
Yeah, CJ had the setup where the only time in my life you could eat cheese sticks. I think one of his tailgates, I think I may have eaten 40 cheese sticks, which is why I have to exercise now to unplug
no doubt about it.
The damage done from his tailgates.
Yeah, he used to have boxes and boxes of the deep fryer. The deep fryer never cut off. The deep fryer was jalapeno poppers, cheese sticks, mushrooms, onion rings, French fries, continuous. I'm with you on the chicken wings, but I want the chicken wings like the Publix chicken wings that are like the dry ones. I don't want to have to wipe my hands off and take a shower after I get through eating with all the sauce. I just want a handful, gnaw them up, and throw the bones away. Kind of like roasted peanuts. You eat the meat, throw away the shell, and that's what I do with chicken wings. Secondly, anything related to like a hot dog. Pig in the blankets is good. A hot dog is good. Anything I can eat, the meat and the bread, whatever you can put on it in one hand. That's always a good one for me. I like more unique stuff. Like CJ's had this before, but even if it's not, like the bacon wrapped deer tenderloin, you fry that mug up. Most people don't have something like that. You got a toothpick on it. You can pick it up and eat it. Even if you cut up pork loin and you can just grab a piece or put it on a piece of bread, a biscuit, a roll, eat that. Anything you can eat with just one hand. And lastly, this is kind of crazy, but I like the charcuterie board set up to a certain degree where I'm, like you said, graze. I go over and get a piece of cheese, a pepperoni, and a Ritz cracker. Bang. I might get a different kind of cracker and a piece of ham. And then, I might eat 10 pieces of pineapple. I love pineapple. So I might sit there and just eat pineapple or strawberries for the whole time. So, I don't know that I'm going to buy a charcuterie board. I might just buy a sub tray. But if somebody's got one and I can eat some crackers, ham and cheese, and some pineapple and strawberries, I like that. That's what I like. But definitely the chicken wings. I think everybody's on board with chicken wings is probably number one tailgate. And I'll eat pizza or whatever you got. And if CJ breaks out a chicken ball late, I'll eat a bowl of it. I just gotta put the drink down. Use both hands with the bowl and the spoon.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's it for this week. Next week we will be back as well with more hard-hitting issues. Who knows what's going to happen this week? We'll give a Super Bowl rundown. We'll give a halftime show rundown of what happened, and I'll give our middle-aged white guy review on current events. So until next time. Oh, don't forget, hit subscribe, hit the like button, all the stuff you're supposed to do, so we can get some good sponsors like Manscaped and Blue Chew and Athletic Greens, MeUndies, and all the good podcast sponsors. We're trying to get
some of that Blue Chew.
It is Valentine's Day. So until next time, we out.